Hey guys, Dylan Bradley here, and I'm one of your fellow Clickfunnels certified partners. Actually, I'm not certified yet. I have a couple more lessons to complete. I'm so close. We'll be there before the new year. That's the goal. But I was on the custom CSS one, and it's one I put off because I was like, oh, I don't want to learn code, right? I don't want to deal with that. But I put it off, and I wish I hadn't, because one of the things that I ran into is that when I was trying to design some of my funnels, I had a few problems in keeping the design consistent. I was like, oh, I wish there was a way to fix it. And sure enough, with CSS, you can fix things that previously had really bugged you. I was like, okay, this is good to know, and it got me really excited because I found a few new like tips, tricks, and quirks that you can use with CSS that are super simple that solve those problems for me. And so I got really excited. I was like, you know what? If I had these problems and I couldn't find the answers, chances are someone else had these problems and they couldn't find the answers, and so maybe I can save them some time and help them out. So I put together this tutorial, this little short training to show you a few of the tips and tricks that I learned, and so hopefully you can apply these to your funnels. Hopefully these help you out. And also, as an ulterior motive, I hope to draw out some of the other people that are actually like real developers, real coders that are in this group. I'm sure we have some of them, and maybe get their feedback, and maybe they have some useful strategies that they'd be interested to share. So that's a second motive. But ultimately, I just want these to be helpful for you guys, and hopefully you can use them and make your funnel building that much better. So I'm going to do this real quick. I'm not going to make this I'm not going to go into too much detail on all of these. I'm actually going to be providing you with the code for these as well, so you can see it, and I'm going to be providing you with it in this presentation. As you can see, I just threw this together. There's nothing fancy going on here. All right, but here's what you're going to discover. Number one is how to make full width rows. Number two is how to make uniform section height. Number three is how to make uniform top margins. Number four is how to make your page look different on desktop versus mobile. And number five is how to make a custom mobile responsive Navbar. Now, especially number five, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on it, but I'm going to show you how I made mine. And then I'm going to give you that code so you can copy and paste it into your browser, or into your funnels, and see if it works. And then you can customize it from there. Ultimately, this is the one I want to get some help with more. So let's dive into this. Perhaps you guys have seen this. This is Russell's funnel hacks page. And as a good funnel hacker, I questioned, I was like, all right, well, how can I make this in my own, right? It seems to be, if Russell's using it, he's probably doing something right and knows a thing or seven, and I want to copy some things, right? So one of the things I wanted to figure out was like, all right, I know he made this in ClickFunnels, but how did he get all this text to be on all the way on this side of the page? It's like he must have figured out a way to make the rows as big as the sections, right? So I played around with it and couldn't figure it out. So until I learned CSS or learned this thing with CSS. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So here's mine, right? It looks pretty similar, right? My webinar page, right? So I finally was able to get all this stuff. This row, this is in the editor, by the way. So I'm in the editor, I'm not previewing it, but you know that. So I finally found a way to get this row to the right, right? And it was just through a simple CSS command. And the easiest way to do it, right, is there's nothing fancy, and step by step, here's what we do. You're gonna go and go to the section, we get that to highlight. We're gonna go to settings. From settings, all you do is go down here to this pound hashtag thing, get CSS info. From there, just copy this selector. I'm just going to copy that. And I know Nora in the CSS lesson explains the other way, where you can preview the page, this way. You can preview it, and then you can get the selector and do all that. But I'm not going to do that, right? I actually need to save this page too. So go to custom CSS, and all you're going to do, and I've already done this, but I'll retype it out here, but you're just going to get the code. You're just going to paste that. And the CSS code you're going to use, I don't even know all the different parts names. I'm just calling it all code, so forgive me. But you want to make sure you put a space and then go period, and it's container, and then no space, uppercase I, NNER, and then we're going to do curly Q, and it's going to be width, and then we're going to say whatever width percentage we want. And I have 100% because that's what it takes to get all the way to the edge, right? You can say whatever you want. You can say 80%, you can say 60%, you can say whatever you want, right? And the CSS will update. And the cool thing is you get instant feedback when you use CSS, so you know if your code works or not. And just a quick overview of what this code actually means is it actually means that for this section, right, the inner container, I want the inner container to be 100% of the width, right? So that's what it's telling the, that's what it's telling ClickFunnels, all right? So that's how you get that all over there. Now, just to throw in, because maybe this is your situation, sometimes you have sections that you have more than one row in it, and you don't want all of them to be that big, right? Or you want some to be big, some to be small, right? And you want to play around with that. But as you see, when I use that code, and I'm sure there's another code that we can use to do this individually, but I found this works, right? So all you do is say this is your new row. I added a new row here. You just go up to settings. We're gonna go to CSS info. We're gonna take this row. I'm gonna copy this. We're gonna go back up to the CSS. Same thing. Paste it there. And all I'm gonna do is do curly, and the command, there's no like container or anything like that. It's just row. And then I'm gonna do width. And I'll just set it at, let's just set it at 50%. 50%. Okay. And then I'm gonna close this out. Right? We're not done yet. But you see how this is over here? It's like, I don't want this over there. I want it to be in the middle, right? What's going on? So let's check these settings first. All right, so here's one thing that we're running into is ClickFunnels will sometimes do this, and they will auto update things, and they have, so ClickFunnels, there's a hierarchy of CSS. If you didn't know this, I found this out trying to highlight my Navbar when I hover my mouse over it to change different colors. If you remember that from the CSS training, and it wouldn't do it, but it was because I changed the default setting first. Weird stuff. I don't know enough about it to get into it, but that's something you can check, right? And so what it just did was it adjusted this setting here on this one, right? So that's not necessarily what we want, right? We don't want that, but let's go back up to our CSS code. So we're still at 50% there, all right? So what we want to do is we also want to specify what our left margin and then our right margin will be, right? So we're just going to do margin dash left colon, and we're going to say auto, right? We're going to do our semicolon. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do margin right, and we're also going to do auto. Another colon, and we're going to do max width. I'm not really sure what this max width command, if I can spell width right, width command does. We're going to do initial, right? Okay, and we're going to put that curly bracket to close out this whole command. All right, so there's our row, and it's still too big, right? That's frustrating, right? So I think what we need to do here is, let's see if doing this will have an impact. So we're going to do that. We're going to do exclamation point, and we're going to say important. Okay, so this is important. It's important. It's important. It's a code is important, and it's important. So what we notice, and now we see we're 50% and we're now centered in on the page, right? So like I said, ClickFunnels because it is a drag and drop editor, they do auto, sometimes they will auto assign certain code as more important than others, right? So if you're writing your code and your code's right, and for whatever reason it's not working on your page, you might just want to throw in this important command here, right? And this important command, all it does is it tells ClickFunnels that this code is supposed to be the priority code versus other ones, right? So that's what this does here. And so we see that when we do this, it works. So that's how you make multiple rows. And just for you guys' reference, you can, no, we don't need that there. Tracking code, we need this. But I can make this bigger. I can say it's 80%, right? And you can kind of see it expands there. So that's how you can make your section, make the containers to be full width, but then you can make different rows have different widths. Sound pretty cool? All right, so I'm gonna take this code just to make sure we have it, get the CSS, get all this stuff, and we're gonna put this over here in this file. Right, there it is, right? So it's there. there's the code. So all you have to do is change this row out for this code. For all this code, guys, just a reference, is you obviously need to change out your own section identifier or your row identifier, because mine won't work in yours, right? It won't know what to target. But then you just put this code in there, right? So there's the code there. So next thing is we want to make a uniform section height, and I'm going to show you that, how to do that. I don't, before I do this, before I forget, I'm just going to delete that because I don't need that there. I don't want that. I don't need this there. I'm going to save this. Just make sure it's good. Okay, that's not the one I want. I want to show you the uniform section height on this one. Okay, so this is my my funnel build site, and I have a membership with this as well, where I create a bunch of this stuff. And in fact, this video is probably going in there. Anyways, right? If you see this section, right, is this uniform size, and I wanted this because I just like the way it looks, right? I want my text to be in the middle. I want the section to be a certain size, and for a while I didn't know how to do this. And what I would do, and maybe you've done this as well, is I would just put these dummy rows in there, right? I would just, make a few of these dummy rows, and I would put them in this section so that it would be bigger and everything would be aligned, right? And you can do that. But I didn't like doing that because it looked sloppy, it looked messy, and I figured there's probably an easier way. And there is. And so it's really easy. All you're going to do is you're going to go up to this section. You're going to do the same thing. Grab the CSS info, copy the selector there, and then go up to custom CSS. And as you see here, I have section, and then the command is height. So it's section, then it's the curly Q bracket, then it's height, and then I just put 800 pixels right there. So this is the code that we're going to use here. Okay. Now, the next thing, so that's that code right there, and that corresponds to this one right here. See? Now, you've probably noticed that there's a few more pieces of code in this, in my CSS, right? So I'm going to go through these. Let's see, what's the next one on our list? We have uniform top margins. So we're going to do uniform top margins. And I just named this whatever I wanted, right? So you can call it whatever. So this uniform top margin. So this is corresponding to, as you see, a row. So it's corresponding to this row. So all I did, instead of having, instead of for making my padding or my margins bigger, or, for the sections making my padding or margin bigger, I didn't want to do that, right? So I was like, okay, how can I do this with CSS? Really simple. I just copy this, or go to the row identifier. So we're taking this for the row, and I copy that code, okay? I go up to this CSS, and I paste that code here. Then for some reason, I need to have this, greater than equal sign, this arrow sign, whatever it's called, and then div, right, to make this work. I don't know why, but I just know this makes it work, right? So whatever row you want to pick your row, and whatever margin you want to do for that, just paste your row, then type in this arrow sign, then div. And then you're going to do the same. You're going to put in your command. So we're going to do, the command is margin top, colon, and then we're going to specify the pixels, and I specified 200, but you can make it whatever you want. Like, let me show you what it's like if I do 500, right? So see, 500 takes them down there. Okay. So go ahead and custom CSS. I want that to be 200, or 200 pixels, right? And then you're going to do, close it off like normal with the semicolon and the closed curly Q bracket, right? So I'm not, like I said, I'm not an expert, but all I know is that this is super simple, right? And you don't have to know, I don't have to know why this is there, but I just know it works, right? It works, it makes my page look good. And if you don't believe me, let me show you. Looks good, right? And this is on my browser. But the issue comes to play is that on mobile, it doesn't look quite as good, right? Because I have this big old section, and Clickfunnels, it keeps this section very large on mobile. And that's a problem, because this brings us into our next thing, is how to make your page look different on desktop versus mobile, right? So mobile is a completely different animal. And just the like the way users interact with it is different than desktop. What you want to show, and also there's less real estate, there's less screen real estate, so you don't want to take up a bunch of screen real estate and make the user scroll extra on accident. Like you want to do things purposefully for this. And you don't want to have a bunch of empty space on your mobile screen, because that's space that takes more time away from the person getting to the next thing and all that good stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. So that was an issue. And I think maybe I said before, maybe I haven't said, but Russell announced, and this was in a marketing forecast, that this year in 2017 was the first year that over half the traffic, I think he said the number was around 60% of all traffic sent to ClickFunnels. So if you haven't heard this, you guys write this down. 60% of almost all the traffic sent to ClickFunnels was from mobile. Okay? So what this means is you should be thinking, and there's different niches, but you should be like, all right, if that's true, then maybe I should prioritize my mobile strategy first and then move into desktop. Or start thinking about which pages of my funnel should be mobile focused and which pages should be desktop focused, right? And how you can incorporate that in your strategy. And so ClickFunnels does have mobile versus desktop. You can see mobile versus desktop, right? But this doesn't show you everything. You should always test your funnel and actually look at it on your mobile device screen, right? Because that's going to show you the true representation, and I'll show you why here in a minute. You can do stuff like you can hide, right? You see, like this says desktop only. Yes, take me back to my page. ClickFunnels. Thanks for asking me to save, but I don't want that right now. So anyways, this says desktop only. You can make things, desktop only, mobile only, and you can do stuff like that to remedy the situation. But you can do some CSS code to make this, what I'm saying is I could duplicate this section and make this section that you see right here with the spacing only for desktop, and I can make a separate section for mobile, right? That's perfectly fine. You can do that. But you can also use the same section and just use a piece of code, really simple code, to make it one version show up on mobile and one version show up on desktop. Okay, I'm going to show you that here. So in the custom CSS, the code that specifies this is this code right here. And it's really simple. It's just the @ media space screen space and then it's not the curly Q bracket, we're just going to do it in parentheses. And it's going to be min width, and then you set the pixel of the device. And then after you do all that in close parentheses, we're going to do the curly bracket, and we're going to put everything that we want this to be applied to within the curly brackets. That's why I have this bracket down here and this bracket up here, right? So these commands, these CSS commands, fall within this. And what this is saying is these commands, the section height and the margin top, are only going to be applied to devices, right, that have a minimum screen width of 800 pixels. So what this means is anything less than 800 pixels won't get this, won't look like this, right? It won't get these kind of spacing, right? And so one thing is, and this is why I want to do some more research on, maybe you guys can help me with, is I don't know what the average screen widths and all that stuff are out there for desktop versus mobile. Myself, I have this massive 34-inch screen, and so I don't even know what the rest of the world is like. I just know what my screen real estate is. But it's good, so that can help you determine, if you know that your audience are on desktops, or if they're using, the iPhone Pluses or versus the normal sized iPhones. I don't know how many versions of iPhones are out right now. But knowing what type of screens your audience uses, if they use Android versus iPhone, you can change the way your funnels are displayed there, right? You can get a lot more complicated with this, but the code is super simple. It's literally just @media space screen space and then you just specify the width, and then you put all the commands in there. And I could do the same thing, right? I could probably do @media screen and I could do max width, right? Which would say, and then I could say 800 pixels if I wanted to. And then this would be talking to what would be displayed on mobile phones and not desktop, right? Does that make sense? pretty straightforward there. And so this command, just put everything you want within those brackets and it will work. And to show you what I mean by this is I have to actually show you, and this leads into the last portion, and that, by the way, that all that code is right here, right? See the code? It's in there, right? So this is the main code right here. That's that main code, and then everything has to be within these brackets, right? It leads into the last one, is the mobile responsive navbar, and that's not the page I want. This is the page I want. So this mobile responsive navbar, and I'm going to show you the navbar, but I'm also going to show you how it changes the sections when you're in mobile versus desktop on this page. Okay, so bear with me when we do this. Right, so this is the page I'm going to use to show you, and just so you know what it looks like, let me just show you that I do have the CSS code on here. So see, I have this media screen and I have the section height, so that's that code from before. Right, so it makes the section this size. I didn't need the margin top because I liked where this was spaced, but let me connect my phone real quick to show you what it's like on mobile. So by the way, guys, in this one, right, this is the page we were just on. Sorry, I keep going back and forth, but if I look on mobile here, see how this shows me all this space. So without this code, without that media screen code, then when you look at this on your mobile device, this is how much space this will all take up. And what this means is that your user, that this stuff right here is probably not going to be above the fold, right? So it means they have to scroll to get access to it, which could reduce conversions, make the user annoyed, whatever, right? Or it might not look as good, right? So I'm going to show you on the mobile screen. You know what? I can actually show you the mobile screen on both of these. So let me connect my phone. Screen mirroring. Let me just find where we're at. Lonely screen. Let's see if it works. No, where's it at? Okay. Well, my screen mirroring, I sometimes use this thing called lonely screen right here, but you see it's not working, so maybe I won't be able to show you it on mobile at the moment. Let me just settings. It's not working. Give me 1 second. Success. I got it working. Okay. Let's open my browser. I'm going to resize this for you guys. Okay. So now it's working. I want to go to, let's see, what pages do I have open up? Oh, I don't have that one open. Okay. I need to go to this one. Okay. So this page right here is this page, but only on a mobile phone, right? So see, there's no spacing. See how everything is right there, right? This is the size of, I have an iPhone 6s, so like this is what my screen size is. And this is also that mobile responsive menu that I'm about to show you. When I click the button, there we go, and then it loads, right? Isn't that cool? Right? So just click the button, and then there's my nav bar, right? Pretty cool there. I'm gonna show you that in a second. I want to go to, here's my funnel excellence page. If I can, so this is how the page looked like before, right? I'm going to refresh this page in a minute, right? See how this is before I added the mobile versus desktop code. See how there's that space? It doesn't look good, right? They have to scroll down to like see this stuff, right? So I'm going to refresh this, and it should see, and this is how it is after, right? So see how everything fits right here. Now I can probably do a little bit editing, make sure I probably don't need this as big of a funnel excellence thing here. I could probably shrink that or get rid of that altogether, right? But now you see how this all fits in on the screen, right? That's good, right? That it does that. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back. Yeah. So there is this, right? And I'm going to show you this media screen here. This is what so I guess this is a good time to lead into it. This is the mobile responsive media screen. And so it has this little icon, which is pretty cool, right? I would love to be able to make this icon bigger and do a few more things to it, so I got to learn more about it. But then I can keep my menu on my page. And I know what I've seen before is any page with a navigation menu, and I'll show you that here, right? So I'm going to preview. This is the page that you were just seeing on my mobile screen. I'm going to preview this. You see I have this navigation screen, this navigation thing right here, right? Before, I would have to hide this, and I'm going to show you here. So see how this is desktop only, right? I actually would hide this. So I hide this when they're on mobile, and I just show them something down here. But I haven't added this mobile responsive menu to everything on my funnels yet. But you see, that's there. There's the nav, and it works just fine. Like I can go, like say I want to go to my get a quote page, right? It goes directly to my get a quote page, and all right, so that's the nav bar. But when I'm on my mobile screen, this is the nav bar. And I can click on there. And I can go, let's go to, I can go to services. Right, if it loads. There we go. Right, services. And then I can always go back. Right, and then I can just shrink it. That's pretty cool, right? So I'm gonna show you how to make that, and I'm gonna keep it quick because we're about 26 minutes in, and I don't want to spend all day on this. And this can be kind of complicated. So what I did to make this was I did a lot of research, but it requires 2 parts or 3 parts. It requires HTML, it requires JavaScript, and then it requires custom CSS, right? And so all I did was added this custom JavaScript HTML element right to where I wanted my navigation bar to be. See, right there. And you can do that by going over to miscellaneous, and it's this custom JavaScript HTML. Okay? And that's going to be where we write the code for the bar, and it's not hard, guys. This part is not hard at all. Understanding where it comes from is tough, but like I'm going to give you the code. So, and then we go over here to custom CSS, and then this stuff right from here on down, that's where we start to talk about, we apply the CSS to the code we wrote for the for the nav bar, and I'm gonna go through the sections of that. Okay, so real quick, here's the HTML. So we open the code editor. The HTML starts here and goes to here, and then the JavaScript starts here and goes to here. I know there was someone in the group, actually, it was today when they were asking how they can make a custom frequently asked questions menu, and they didn't know what they were having trouble. And I was like, well, the simple solution was just put the JavaScript in this code, this custom HTML code editor versus in the footer or header, and then add the script codes. They didn't have the script codes there, so they didn't have this this script and then close script. They didn't have that, and when they added that, it worked, which was awesome. And I had no idea that would make it work. I was just like, well, this is what I did for mine. Like maybe it works for you. So that's this code. And I got this code from W3 Schools, right? I think it's w3schools.com. So when you go here, there's all this stuff. There's HTML, there's CSS, there's tons of stuff. And I actually got a lot of this stuff from the navigation bar, right? So they give you a lot of the code here. So this is where I'm getting this is my source, right? So I didn't make any of this stuff up. I just kind of copied, pasted, and applied, try to figure a few things out. Okay, so the HTML. I know you guys all don't have the same navigation bar, and you don't want, if you were to take this, you don't want your nav bar to send people to my pages. I mean, I would like that, but it's not. You guys don't want that. So it's really simple. Right here is where I have the link, literally between these quotes, right? You just put the links to each one of your pages that you want, and then you just name it whatever you want here. So see, it says get a quote. So that's where you put your name. And then this is where you put your link, and you just do that for how many you want. And if you have more, like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have more, you can just add and just enter and just copy and do the same exact thing, right? And it'll give you another Navbar thing. Super simple. I don't know what's going on here. I just copied and pasted this, and it works. So really for this, guys, you just copy and paste all this stuff, and then you can change your links and your names, and it works, right? That's what you do here. But that brings us over to the CSS, right? The CSS, I did copy and paste everything in, but I did make a few changes. And really where you need to make changes is, let's see here. Where did I do all the changes? So this is kind of where it starts. I'm not really sure what this stuff does. I think it has something to do with, I don't know what it does. I don't know what this does right here, but it works. So maybe you can tell me. But this is the first thing where it's .top nav a, and this is where it's kind of talking about where does your navigation bar sit, what color are your links, and all that kind of stuff. What font family, what font weight, and it's all you do is you can just change it, right? You can say, hey, I want my font to be 18 instead of 16. Hey, I want my font to be Times New Roman instead of Poppins. Hey, I don't want it to be bold, I want it to be normal, or I want it to be italicized, right? You can kind of change this part around, and you just change the orange things, right? Really simple here, right? Hey, I don't want it to be blue, I want it to be black, or I want it to be yellow, or I want it to be whatever color you want it to be, right? Super simple. You can just go change this stuff, right? And it'll show on the, so for example, let me just show you, right? I'm gonna change, I'll just change this to, let's say I want to make it black. Oop. I'm gonna copy that so I can come back to it. Black. Okay, so I want it to be black. I want my font, instead of black, I want it to be 20, right? And so let me show you. So this is what it looks like before, right? And so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to preview. And this is what it looks like now. See, now it's black, and now it's bigger. Blue, black, now it's size 20 versus size 16. Cool, right? So that's all I did. And so I'm just going to change that back. So change it back the same way. Super easy. I just paste that there. And then I want it to be 16 instead of 20. Okay, really simple. And you use that for font and all that stuff. The next thing is this .top nav a hover. And again, just keep all this the same if you want to do this, right? And it should work as long as you copy like everything the same from here on down, right? Yeah, so as long as you copy everything from here on down, right, you're good, and that's all provided to you, and you just change these things. But so this right here, this top nav a hover, this is telling ClickFunnels what to do when you hover your mouse over the link, and I'll show you. Like, so when I hover, see how these turn red? That's what, in these ones it turns red. That's what this is telling you here, right? Top nav that hover, and it's telling you when you, and yeah, I can change this. I can make this pink. I can make it yellow. I can make it whatever you want, and so you can just change that color there. This is stuff I haven't gotten to yet, right? And we're running kind of long on time, so this is just, you can, I guess you can play around with this and let me know. I'd love for you to share more, because I want to make this menu look really good, and maybe there's someone out there that already has a developed menu, because that'd be super cool. But that's that. And then this is talking about what it looks like on the mobile phone, right? So see how it says the media screen max width. I taught you this. So this is saying for screens that are no wider than 600 pixels, this is what we're going to show, right? And this taps into maybe some of the Java, like this taps into like what it's going to show, and then like maybe some of the JavaScript, right? So media screen max width 600 pixels, this is what it's going to show, and it does the same thing here, right? And these are like talking about like what position it is and that kind of stuff. I don't fully understand all of this, but you don't really have to, right? And maybe someone can add to this lesson. So that's the code, and I have all that pasted in here. So I have the actually, so I do need this page, right? So this is for that nav bar. This is the code for the HTML, and JavaScript, and then this is all the code for the CSS. So literally all you have to do is just add that element to your page. Like I said, don't copy this line. So where it says HTML, like don't copy that, but copy everything below. So copy everything here. Pretty self-explanatory, but just copy all this stuff. And then right below it, you just copy all this stuff and paste this into your custom JavaScript HTML. And that gives you that element. And then this is the CSS. And literally you could just copy all this stuff in there, right? And if it should work, right? And let's just try, just to make sure I'm not like making anything up. I'll just do it on this page, right? So we're gonna do miscellaneous custom JavaScript HTML. And the reason why it should work, by the way, guys, is because we defined, and this is maybe gets a little, it shouldn't be complicated. So we define, it says div class top nav, right? Top nav, my top nav. So we define the name of this section. So this isn't like specific to your ClickFunnels, right? Where like before, some of the things like are like when we get the thing ID, see how it has that special ID? Since we defined this in the HTML, and that's what the CSS, so you see this top nav, right? Top nav, my top nav, right? It's referring to this, right? So that's the cool thing, is this can be universal. Does that make sense? Cool. So just to show that this will work, I'm gonna copy all this stuff to show this will work on another page. And if it doesn't work, don't hold it against me. But there, open code editor, boom, right? So that's there. And then let's just get this JavaScript here. Boom. Copy that. We're going to just paste this in there. Right? There's the JavaScript. And I'm going to, just to show you that this works, because I told you that this is something you can do. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to add another row. So I'm just going to add another row. Right? I'm just going to paste that there. And instead of calling it about, I'm going to just call it new row. And by the way, if this is caps, there'll be caps on there. Okay, so let's just save that real quick, and I'm just going to preview this to see if the nav bar pops up. All right, so you see the nav bar pops up, right? So it's there, but it looks all weird because we haven't added the CSS. So I wasn't kidding, it works. That works. But let's just add the CSS and see if that translates all over. So we're going to copy this one. Copy that. We're going to go up to custom CSS. Paste that in. Okay. We're going to go, and then we're going to get the rest of it. Oop, don't want to miss. There we go. And we are going to paste that in. Cool. All right. So now that's there. Unless this is like the moment of truth. Let's see. Preview. Boom. Look at that. So see, we got the new row. That's there. And then let me see if I can pull up my screen. This is funnelexcellence.com. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys to show that it works on mobile. And the show is literally just copy and paste for you guys. And I know we're about 38 minutes. Thank you guys for sticking with me. And let's see. Let me make sure. Let me get lonely screen. Let me see if it works. There we go. We're back. And we're back. We're live. Let's go here. There we go. So this is the page I just edited, right? And then there's the bar, right? And then to prove it, I just did this new row. See, that's the one that shows us what the new row is. So that's it. And this, I mean, guys, these link all over. It should. I clicked on free funnels, and boom, takes me to that page, right? That's it. So that is your little CSS lesson, and you're gonna get all this code. So literally you have this and you can just copy and paste in your funnels. So I guess just to conclude is, so far you know that you know how to make full width rows, you know how to make some rows full width and others not. You know how to make uniform section height, you know how to make uniform top margins, you know how to make your page look different on desktop versus mobile. You know how to make a custom mobile responsive navbar. And hopefully someone is like, oh, I want to make that even look cooler. So if you do, make sure you share that with me, because that'd be pretty cool. And you have all the code, right? And you know for this code that you have to change the section, that kind of thing, or the row to fit whatever your row or section it is, but this is the code for it, right? So if you're going to do this on yours, just make sure you change that and just use this code. I'm going to get rid of that underline because I don't like it. So that's the code, right? Same thing down here, like all this stuff is the code. I'm just bolding it for you so you know. I'm going to bold all the code for you. Boom, boom, boom. All right, that'll be bolded for you. And you get this document, you get the video, and it shows you everything, right? And you have your Navbar, and so hopefully play around. If you know any, so just to conclude, I hope this added value to you. Hopefully, maybe it solved some problems that you guys were facing, and now you're like, yes, problem done. So that'd be really cool. But if you have more questions, let me know. But if you have any, connect with me. If we're not friends, I'd love to connect. I think that'd be super cool. I'd love to meet more of you guys. And also, if you have some of these CSS tricks of your own and would love to add and want to add to this, do it. I think it'd be cool if we have this little resource, because I think these things are just like little small tricks that can solve little problems that create big issues, and also just make your funnels look better. So with that, again, Dylan Bradley here, signing off. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and make the most of it, and go out there and make some awesome funnels, make your clients happy, make yourself happy. And I'm actually recording this right before Christmas, so it's the 18th of December. So have happy holidays. Go out and have a really good Christmas. Spend time with those you love, and have a good New Year as well. So with that, peace. I'm out.